Right, now when you're designing something, what I would do here, so this is how I do it. I've got my acetate here, Chucks. Barry actually shows you. Thank you, Barry. Now I've got this A4 page here. Now what I'm going to do is make it easy to work with. So I'm going to fold that over like that, and then fold it underneath like that. So I've got, that's nice to work on. I can move that around, make life easy for myself. So I pop my acetate on there. I can actually tape it down if I want to, but I'm not going to. Now, I'm just going to outline this, and we'll just do it in real time. I say this is a bit of a class, so you can see what I'm doing. So it may be a bit boring, but it's not about selling, it's about showing you how to do it. So first of all, make life easy for yourself. Don't lean over and start up here and start coming down here. Always work at the area that's closest to you and turn it round as you're working, making it easier. So if I'm doing this, I would start here. And I'd start in the middle and work my way out. So I'm just going to do the circle like that. And if possible, I'm getting a bit clever here doing it the other way, but always try and drag towards you. So pushing it like that way, you're actually touching and pulling it out towards you like that, the design. So just follow the lines, and as you can see, you've got full control here, and it's just having the confidence to do it. Again, touch and lift and follow the line. Doesn't matter if it goes off. If you're doing something that's geometric, then you want to be as, you know, as proper as possible. But when you're doing a flower or a leaf, it doesn't matter if the petal, if I want to go and make the leaf petal a bit larger, I can do. You know, it doesn't matter. So if you make, what I'm trying to say is, if you do any mistakes, better if you're doing it this way, Chucks. Now, some of you may have seen some of the doors and things like that that we've made, and you think, gosh, that's expensive, that's really hard to do. Look at all the detail on that, but the smaller it is, the less detail there is on it, the easier it is to actually do, because all you're doing is little areas, bit to bit. If you're doing one that's like 12 inches long, then it is going to be hard to do.
Can I interrupt you just for a moment?
Of course you can.
Okay, I'm just going to put you back in vision just a second, so you can talk to
No,
Anne
I
number
can
one.
carry on doing it while I'm talking.
Okay, fine. Well, okay, well, I'll just give you a wide shot. Anne number one's put a message on the forum. Is there a shelf life for the outliners of the glass paints once opened? Also, can you use the water-based glass paints with a paintbrush to use instead of the glazed paints?
Can you give me one question at a time, because I'm working, clever clogs.
Well, I was going to answer it.
Give me the first question first.
Is there a shelf life for the outliners of the glass paints once opened?
Okay, you answer that then.
Thank you very much for
that. Well, you just said I know the answer to that.
Well, once opened, yes, there is a shelf life for them, but if you do if you make sure that you keep them upside down and you keep them in a darkened place, they could last you indefinitely, and will last you indefinitely, in fact. With the solvent-based paints, they've got a special lid in them that stops the paint from evaporating, so make sure that you always return that lid. Because that way it'll increase the life of the paint.
But you are going to get, once you've opened it, you are going to get natural evaporation, no matter what you do, because it will, you know, it always finds its way out.
And the other question that
Anne usually lasts. I mean, I've got paints that I've not touched for a year or two, and they're still okay. It just depends what you're doing, really.
And the other question that Anne had was, can you use the water-based glass paints with a paintbrush to use instead of glazed pens? Yes, of course you can, Anne.
Yeah, of course. You certainly can. So you can see what I'm doing now. I've turned it round as I've been working, and I've just gone over the tops. Now I'm going to do this little bit here. It's moved around slightly, but it's not the end of the world. And I'm just going to do the stem on this as well.
Okay, we've had another question from Heather. How long do the outliners take to dry before you can start painting? Well, I'll bring myself into vision for a second, Heather, just to tell you that then.
You want to see me, not you.
There we go. They take round about, well, 2 or 3 hours to dry. You can accelerate the drying of that if you put them under a grill, under a low setting, but our advice really is to leave them overnight. It's a much better thing to do.
Yeah, I tend to do my outlining the night before or the day before and let it dry, but you don't. It depends on the temperature of the room as well. Once it gets a surface skin over the top of it, you can technically start painting. It's best to let it dry out completely if you want, but it varies. Sometimes if it's a sunny day, just put it outside. 15 minutes later, it's dry enough to actually do. But generally, I try to do it design one day. Or another tip is have a hairdryer. Hold it not too close, because if you have it too close, it will bubble You want to hold it away and it'll just gently dry it. But let's say, when we used to make glass for craft fairs and sell them, we used to make hundreds and hundreds, well, thousands and thousands of roundel sun catchers, and we was always desperate to get them painted. So what we used to do, we used to have a tray of 24, and we used to have the grill, and we used to slide them under the grill and have the grill on very low, otherwise it would have cracked the glass, and then they were pretty dry enough to paint within 10-15 minutes, and then we used to turn the tray around and do cook the other side as it was. But when I talk about having it was only on number 1, you know, it was on just a gentle heat coming down. So what you've got to be careful about is when the outliners are drying is that you don't dry it too quick, because it can go shrink too much. But also you may dry it on the outside, but it's still tacky and wet on the inside, which may never dry because you've sealed it around the edges. So it's entirely up to you, and it also depends on the thickness of the line and how much outliner you've used as well. The thinner the line, obviously, that doesn't take long to dry. Now, the one I've done here now, you can see that. You pull this away, and you're left with the outline there ready to paint. So I could probably paint that. I'm going to put this to one side. I'm going to put this to one side and just put it here so that can carry on drying. And let's see if it's good enough to paint a bit later on. Now, the other way of painting is obviously with the peel-offs, and there's lots and lots of different ways. If you look in our books, there's lots of different ways. Now, I just want to explain about paints, glass paints. Now there's different types, obviously. There's solvent-based, basically, and your water-based. Those are the main ones. Now, I love solvent-based ones, but they're not for everybody because they can be a bit smelly. But they're perfectly safe so long as you have ventilation in your room that you work in. There used to be 3 or 4 of us when we used to have the glass business painting it, and the fumes were quite strong. And I asked the health and safety to come in and check that we were doing everything right. And he spent about 2 or 3 hours there, went round, and afterwards I said, okay, so I'll send you a report. So he sent me a report, and it says, keep a window open. So just keep ventilation. It's a bit like, can you imagine glue sniffers? They kind of put it in the mouth, and that's all they smell. But if you've got ventilation coming in, and just from a little pot like that, if you're not used to it, it will smell quite strong. So I love the smell of it, but it's a solvent-based one. So just be clever with it. You know, just be sensible with it. If you're doing a lot of painting all day, you might get a headache or something if you don't have some ventilation coming in. But we developed that one ourselves. We've got solvent-based one which is transparent, you can see through, but we also have a clear, an opaque white. So if you mix it into any of the transparent ones, you can get an opaque colour too. You can also get a pearlescent one, which we developed ourselves, and I don't think anybody else sells it. It gives a wonderful kind of, almost like a hammerite finish, real texture to it when it dries. So those are the 2 main ones, and obviously there's other makes around, but we're trying to push our own, really. Then we developed, that many people love the and that's still my favourite, what do they call it? Solvent-based, that's the word. I'm trying to think of about 1,000 things here at the moment. That's your solvent-based one, Chucks.
We got another question.
Another question?
Yeah, can I answer this one then?
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay, just bear with me a second.
I'm drinking my tea while I'm waiting.
Hello, Nona. This is from Nona. Can you use just any ordinary paintbrush, or are there specific ones for glass painting? Well, you can use any ordinary paintbrush, but the one that we particularly recommend is a number 2 paintbrush.
I've got them here ready.
And the reason why we recommend that is, well, Alan will explain why
well,
now.
I don't know why you're answering all this, because I'm here with all the things. He just likes to stick his oar in, doesn't he?
I do.
Right, Nona, Chuck. Brushes. Now, the one I love to do, that I use for everything, whether it's a huge... Can I have a really close up, please? There you go. You can see those brushes there. It's a number 2. It's just an ordinary one. Now, you have to be careful with some brushes if they're nylon. Depending on the paint you use, it will dissolve the nylon. So you don't want that. And these are just ordinary hair brushes. But I like them so that what you want them to do is actually hold the paint. Can I have them back again, please? Thank you. Hold the paint, and then you've got 2 here, one with a point and one that's quite fluffy. So if you fill in large areas, you can use your fluffy one, and you've got the small one. But this one I use literally for everything, and I can have the same brush for 2 years, and I never clean it properly. And I'll show you how to clean that in a little while. But let me finish off going through the paints first so you can really understand them. So you've got your solvent-based paints, which are my favourites really, because they're really transparent. They really look like cathedral glass. Great things you can do with them. But we've also got the water-based paint. Now, we developed that special as well. I don't know if you know, we used to have rainbow glass, and all the paints is what we've developed. I used to go into the laboratories with the scientists, and I used to drive them mad because we used to buy our glass paints and they never quite did what I wanted them to do. So I was like, I want it to do this, and that's how we developed the pearlescent one. And I want it to kind of be almost like an organism. When it dries, it changes and that. I'll show you that. If we get time, I'll show you that. If not, don't worry, because we'll be having more of these, and we'll be more specific, maybe just pearlized paints one day, etc., etc. And this is the first of many web classes as well, and we've got lots of people lined up for them. But the water-based one, now we designed that to be quite thick, so it's almost like an oil paint when it comes out. That's what an example there of one of our water-based ones there, Chuck. And you can see this is the yellow one. There's the yellow one, and if we can get a real good close-up of that, you can see that. Now, what we do is that comes out. If I can just get a piece of tissue, I'll get a little piece of tissue, and I'll just squeeze a little bit of this on. You'll see how thick it is.
Just put it towards you a bit.
There you go. See that? It's a nice big thick. So when it's in this state, you can use it because it usually keeps its full-bodiedness. So you could use this on your cards and things like that if you want to add any kind of special areas and what have you, or like dewdrops on cards. The clear ones, fantastic putting dewdrops on flowers and things like that. You can almost use it like a glaze as well if you want to. I even use it painting fabric with it and sticking it to the self-adhesive plastic, and then you can cut them out and do all sorts of things. But this is the thickness of it. But the thing is, you can water it down just by adding a little bit of water. So if I just take my plate, this is the water base. But when it's that thickness as well, you can also use your finger and do some fantastic. The simplest one to do is using 3 colours on a piece of acetate or glass. Squeeze 3 different colours on there. Take your finger from side to side like that, and you end up with something like this. Let me just show you this. And there you go. Can you see that? Get a close-up on that, Barry? There you go. And that looks like a mesh tube, but obviously it's not. But look at that. Have you seen stained glass windows where they've got that wonderful kind of streak through? And then you can use these in lots of different ways. I'll show you some things that we've painted later on. But this is great if it's on the self-adhesive film. Then you can cut these out and do mosaic vases and all sorts of things. I'll show you those a bit later. I've got me plate here, and let's just put a little bit of yellow on here. Now you can see there's the paint there, and if I can just have a look at the close-up on that.
It's there.
There you go. There's the close-up on that. You can see how it holds itself. But just by taking my brush and just dropping a little bit of water on there, you can make it any thickness that you want. You can make it really runny or anything you want really. We made it that thickness, so if you look into the bottle like that, you can actually double the amount by adding water. So if I was painting something like, I'll paint something in a minute, like the back of one of these Pilos, I just get it to the thickness that I want, and all you do is just blend in some water. You don't need too much. Half and half is a good one to use, and you can see how that's getting nice and smooth now. Another couple of drops in there, and I think that'll be ready. And it's all just trial and error. So now you've got a water-based one. Nothing gets by me, does it? So then I'm going to take one of these peel-off ones. I'm just putting that to one side, and let's start one off. But the thing is, when solvent-based, that evaporates really quickly. But when you use water-based, because it's water, obviously, the more water you use, the longer it takes to dry out. Again, you can create some unusual effects. I've not got a hairdryer with me at the moment, but you can use a hairdryer to give a rippling effect, or if you hold it far enough, that'll dry it much quicker. Now, just another observation with the difference between solvent-based paints and water-based paints. When a solvent-based paint dries, it's really crystal clear and you can see through it. And the funny thing is, when using water-based paints, no matter whose they are, if you add a little bit of water to it, well, water-based paints anyway, when they dry, they are transparent, but there's a slight cloudiness to them. Sometimes, it's just minor, but there is a slight lack of clarity. More water you add to it, the more cloudy the paint looks when it's dry. But that could be to your advantage. It might be what you want it to do. So here's an example. Let's start painting one of these, should we? There's the flower there. Do you want to get a close-up, Barry? There you go, let's get it in the right place. So there's the flower. That's stuck on the front of this acetate. Now, if I turn that over, oh, I've left a piece in there, silly moi. This is the side that you paint on. And because you've got a nice little brush, let's just show you the... Can I go back to my full one? I'm just showing you how I work, and then you can actually see. That's my painted section there. That's my paint. Because I'm left-handed, I'm going to put that to the left side here. Then I always keep right next to it a piece of folded up kitchen towel like that. I've also got a little glass of water. So you don't want your brush to dry out. So every now and again you just dip that in the brush, dip it in the water and then into your paint. So if I'm going to paint this now, I'm just going to wet my brush a little bit because it is a water-based paint I've got. And just to get a little bit of paint on my brush. Can I move that so you can see it? There you go. And then I'll move, you can see more or less. I want this one to be in the right position. Is this in the right position? There it is. That'll do.
Yes, it is.
And then all you've got to do is literally paint over the back, and you're just literally touching the acetate, and you put a blob on there, and then you just drag it around, and that's all you need on there. So you can imagine how far your water-based paint pots go, and that's all you need to do. And now there's very little paint on here, and it's quite thin. So it should dry fairly quickly. And it's
got another question
here in the studio. Another question have you got?
Yeah, I've got another question. It's for Nona. I'll just put myself back into vision just a second.
You want to see me doing this, not you? We can still talk over. You're supposed to be just the voice.
Okay, fine. There you go then.
Come back. They want to see what I'm doing. Right. Well, thing is about watching what we're doing, not looking at you or me.
So can I answer it while you're doing that?
You can answer it while I'm doing it. That's the idea. We'll get there eventually.
This is all new to me.
Oh, new to you in a minute.
This is from Nona. Just had a look at the outliners and I'm stumped as to which size is the best to start out with, the 25mm or the 50mm. The 25mm, Nona.
Yeah,
because it's got a fine tip on it.
Yeah. Use that. You don't need to spend any more at this stage. I'm going to show you how to make an outlining bag. If you want to go for a larger one, do. But I'll show you that in a minute, which is great. If you master doing that. But I just want to start it off with a bit of painting first. And you can see I'm just adding a little bit there. I've just done the flowers. This is a flower up here, I think it is. And just blob it on and just let it dry naturally. So to clean your brush as well, all you do, this is all I ever do. I never use any kind of terps or anything like that. Just dip it in your brush, into your water, just give it a shake, and then take your tri-folded piece of kitchen towel, hold the brush and just turn it like that. And just do it another time and then just give it a quick turn. Now what I can do, I can blend the colours as well, don't forget. So I'm going to take another colour. I might streak in a little bit of orange into that one. So I'm just going to put a little blob, literally a small amount on here. There you go. See that? There's hardly anything on there. Let's bring that into position so you can see. Again, just a smaller little amount there. And again, I'm just going to take my brush and drop a couple of drops of water on there and just water it down.
Can you move the plate over a bit?
Make sure all of the paint has dissolved into the water so you get a nice flowing paint. And now I'm just going to, don't mix it too much, you don't want too many bubbles. I'll show you how to deal with bubbles in a minute. So you just touch that, and now I'm bringing back my flower. Is that the right position? Yeah, that'll do. And now I'm just going to touch at the beginning here and just flick. Just flick into the yellow. So you get some nice shading. Now what you can also do as well to get nice shading is just drop a little blob of water in it, so the water will actually shade it in as well, make it much lighter. And again, I'm just going to bleed in a little bit of the orange there. And a bit more there. And a bit more there. So that's all filled in there. Now what you can also do, if there's any areas that don't touch while you're waiting for that to dry, you wouldn't do a colour right next to it because they'll bleed into each other and you'll get all the mixing colours. But you can look at your design that you've got, and any areas that don't touch, like here, these leaves don't touch really. I can do the leaves as well. So let's paint the leaves. I've got a little bit of dark green here and I've got a little bit of light green. So I'm going to take my palette. I'm going to give you another tip as we go along. What I've done here with my plate, I've put my paints on here, and it means I've got to wash my plate after and all that. Cover your plate with some cling film first, so that when you finish painting, you just take the cling film off, screw it up and throw it away, and your plate's nice and clean. It just saves time. So that's another tip as we go along. So now I'm going to have a little blob of the dark Kelly green, and I'm also going to have some of the light green on here too. And I'm going to mix those in together. Oh, isn't it nice when you don't have to rush and everything? You can just take your time doing it. And I'm going to mix those colours together. Got my water here. And what I'll tend to do is do the pale one first, and then I don't have to wash my brush in between.
Can you move it in just slightly?
There's the green being mixed in. And again, you'll get used to what you like. When we design things, we try to make you as creative as well. You can use them whatever thickness you want. And if you get to a thickness you think, oh, that's good, that's a good idea. I like working it with that thick, or that's too thin for me, it's all running all over the place. Just put less water in. Just put less water in. We do have a thickener as well, which if you want to make the paint even thicker, you just add a drop of that, and it's almost like thick oil painting. So there you go. I've watered down my water paints there, and they're fantastic to use. Now, what you can also do is, well, if you want to use a lot of this, I've got some little pots, some little plastic pots, and then just put your paint in there, add a bit of water, and when you finish, put the lid back on, and you've got your water-based paint to the thickness that you like and you want to use, ready to use every time. So let's do this now. So you can see I've got the leaves there ready to paint. I'm going to pop that to one side. Can I just get this in position, Chuck? That's right. I think what we'll do is put a little square so I always know where to put it. So, how would I paint this? Well, first of all, I'd do my dark ones first. But you only paint enough that you don't want it to dry out in the meantime. So you just add a little bit. So if you've got a big piece you want to do, you might just do 6 leaves and do the blending, and then do another 6 leaves. So you're just painting that. You can see what I'm doing. It's not actually painting like this. Oh, yes, I'm getting nice strokes. You're actually really, all you're doing is flooding an area. So you just go up to the edge, and because you've got the peel off, the lines are quite thick there. You can see you can go right up to the edge without going over. And then all I'm going to do is at the side of me, there I've got my bit of paper. So if I just dip into my glass, take the dark off, just tap off the glass, there's my tissue, just wipe off any excess, and then I can just go straight into the light green. And what we might do, I think, is actually show these finished tomorrow on tomorrow's show, because if they're not dry in time by the time we're finished, then we can show you the finished ones tomorrow.
Can I talk to you while you're painting?
Yeah, of course you can.
Right, we've got some more messages in. And number 1, I'm loving the class. I've never seen glass painting demo before, and I am learning so much. Great, Alan, thank you. I will definitely be ordering some products after the class. And Janet, I've been using the same large bottle of Rainbow Glass outliner for about 3 years now, and it's still okay. A question. Faces. What is the best way to outline eyes, nose and mouth? I find it quite difficult to do these with them being so small. I have some lovely designs of people, animals, but shied away from them as I always have problems. I can never seem to get the line fine enough.
Well, I used to cheat slightly when I was doing those. I mean, I'll show you how to make an outlining pad where you can actually get very fine detail, but what I used to do, Chuck, I used to do all the faces and that, but not put the eyes or anything in afterwards. Paint the whole thing, let it dry for a day or so, and then just take a permanent pen, a black one, and then just paint in the eyes and etc. So I did those afterwards. So if you just do a very pale face, you can do those bits. And if you want to put a bit of blue eyes in afterwards, there's nothing to say when you're painting something. Look at it as like a work in progress. So you think, oh, I'll take a few days to do that. I mean, like this, what I'm doing now, I could just put that to one side and do a bit more tomorrow. You can make it as instant as you want with glass painting, or just take your time over a few days and really develop, there's different skills. There's so many different techniques you can use. If I painted this, I could probably paint it 50 different ways using lots of different techniques, but I'm just showing you the basics at the moment. So I've put the dark green on there, and now I'm just adding some of the light green. So that just blobs onto there, and you can see how easy this is. Now I'm trying not to go up to the yellow there, so it's going to blend, and just pop those in. So there you go, I've added the green there. Now what you can also do, as I told you before, if you want to add any highlights, then all you do is take some, well, preferably clean water, but I ain't got any. So if you come back to the main picture here, you can see, just take a little blob of water and just drop it onto there, like that, and then you will get a highlight, and just flick it through, and when that dries you will have a highlight there. So I can just go through here afterwards and just drop a little bit of water in to give you a nice shading, and just flick that through. Now if you were using solvent based paints, you would do this the same way, but you would use clear paint to just give you some more texture. One tip is when, well, what I found, when I'm teaching people who are creative, this is the way I do it, but never going to stop you doing it the way you want to do it. You experiment, you find lots of different ways of doing it. So this is just the basics I'm showing you. This is the way I do it. You can take it or leave it, or play with it, or there's so many things you can do with glass paint. You can use big brushes, small brushes, sponges, your finger, all sorts of things. If you have a look in any of our books, you can go to the library, don't worry, you'll be cursing me now. But there's so many techniques. When we first wrote our first book, we was asked, and there was no glass painting books out. And because I've been doing it for like 15 years, we just did things naturally and developed things as you went away. So when we wrote the book, and we've got like 90 odd techniques in there, they were that new, we had to think of new names to put to them. So we thought, oh, what we're going to call this technique? And we had to think things up. None of them got called Alan's technique or Barry's technique. So what I'm going to do now is just, you can see that up to now. I'm just going to paint these corners in. What should I put? I think I'll put purple. A little purple corners and I'll just do purple and water.
You didn't see me do that, Stuart.
Actually, that's not purple. Have I picked purple up? No, I've picked up royal blue, but that'll do. So I'm just going to water up my royal blue.
Can you bring it a bit more into shot, please?
No, they can see it there. I'm going to have to move everything then, you see. We can see that. There you go, there's the royal blue now. That's all. See how quick it is to water it down? Now we could have made glass paints that were already this watery, but we thought that would have cut down all the different techniques. So doing it this way is fab. So I'm just going to add that little bit. See that on there? Can you see this here, Chucks? There you go. I'm not going right to the end. I'm just putting the blue in first. I can use another colour if I want to. So I'm just going to go up to the edge. And don't worry, if you do go over, just get a clean brush and just wipe it off. Or wait till it's dry and then just take a little scalpel, if it's glass especially, and then you can just take it off. So it's very easy to work with, and you get some fantastic results. Let me just turn that around. Now, pop that on there, like that. Try and get this one finished before we've got about an hour, no set time, but I'm sure you've got your teas to make. So now what I've done is I've just added the blue there, but just by taking a little bit of water on the tip there, I'm just going to blend that in from the corners, and it will bleed into there, so it'll be much lighter. But I'm using water just to shade it in. Again, there's enough water on my brush to make it shady. And all I'm doing, you see why you've got a pointed brush, it works really well. All you're doing is just teasing it up to the edges there. So that's about as far as I could go. What else could I do? What I could do is maybe the centre. Shall I put a bit of orange in the centre there? Or a bit of blue, or a bit of red? Don't know, a bit of red, I think. What do you mean, make your mind up? Just to let you know as well, the back wall here as well, that was done with water-based paint. The actual piece is about that big, like that, and it was done with the gold outliner. We actually took that to, we did that when we had to go to Canada to do a TV show over there. What was the name?
Sue Warden's Craftscapes.
Oh yes, lovely lady. We keep meeting her in America all the time. We must get her on the show sometime.
I've got some more
things
questions.
work out that we're trying to do, maybe. So I'm just taking a look. I'm not even watering this down. See this here?
Can I speak while you do that?
Well, can you just change the cameras at the same time
Yeah.
then? There you go. Well, let me bring this in. Sorry about my hand. I've just got this little bit of red here, and I'm not watering it down at all. I'm just getting a little bit on the end of my brush. I don't want it bleeding into the yellow, you see, and I'm just brushing that on.
Okay, can I speak now?
Yeah, you can.
Nona39, typical of me. I've got the book and some paints, but never thought about any outliner. LOL. We'll be ordering that in my next order. And then we've got a message from Debs. I am liking this a lot. Think I may have to invest and have a go. Hugs, hugs.
Okay then, Chucks. Now you can see that, oh, that's been done there. And we're just going to put that to one side. Now, if I paint another one, maybe with some acrylic... shall I stick to water-based this time? Because I'm conscious about the time, and I don't want to confuse you too much.
You've been going 40
do another one
minutes.
next week with solvent-based paints. Sorry?
You've been going 40 minutes.
40 minutes. Oh, well, let's see how we go. Well, let's have a go at painting the one. Let's see how that's doing. The outline one. Maybe it's probably going to be still quite wet. Yeah, it's still quite wet, that one. I'm not going to do that. I'll tell you what, we could leave that to the next show, maybe, and colour that in on the next show using a different technique, maybe. But so it's like a work in progress. So I'm just going to put that to one side, try and keep it flat. Don't let it run. So let's pop that there. Now this is an experiment for us as well, so we're just seeing, you know, whether the classes work okay, whether you can understand what we're doing, do we need to plan it a little bit better, etc., etc. So the first time we've done it, and we've got lots more to come, and what we'll probably do going forward is have a specific project we'll take from start to finish, incorporating different techniques. But the first one was just see, well, good job, the technology wasn't working this morning, was it? This afternoon. Just have a quick cup of tea. Have you got something to say, Gobby?
What, me? Oh, yeah,
well.
I have. Hope you're all enjoying the show. Thank you for contributing to the questions on the forum. It's been really very helpful. Look at me, all told up, togged up in all this stuff. Anyway, here's Alan.
Here's Alan. Right, I'm just going to show you quickly how to use the water-based paints when you're painting something. So I've got one of my acetates here. Now this one's got the foils on. Now I'll show you some finished samples in a bit, but what I want to, you know that lovely old antique Lalique look you get? Well, if you actually use our iridescent water-based paints, you can get this fabulous effect here. Can you see these cards? Can you see that Lalique look? That kind of beautiful two-tone colours there, and then you can probably see it better on that. See that? Fabulous, you get that lovely effect. That's just using your finger on the back there, same with those two. And that's all of that one. And pop that to one side. And it's so simple to do that. Let's do the Lalique look. So, shall I do this big one? I'll do this big one here. Now, I've got some water-based ones, but these are iridescent. These are iridescent ones. And you've got different colours. They all look the same colour, but they've got pigments in them that give them an iridescent in green, blue, or whatever you want. So all I'm doing here, this is iridescent red. So I want to do this one. Now, just to prove how easy it is to do glass painting, you're probably better on the mid shot, Barry. That's it, better on that one so you can see what I'm doing. If you do this technique, anybody can do it. You get fantastic results at the end. So I'm just going to streak that on from side to side like that. Only a little bit. That's the red iridescent. Next one, I've got a little bit of green iridescent. Just streak that on. Now, kids love doing this because they get their fingers all messy, and also they get a fantastic result at the end of it. But all these can be watered down. All of these can be painted in exactly the same way as we did the other one. And then finally, I've got, what's this one? This is silver, a little bit of silver going on there, like so. And then just take your finger. Now, you don't want to go round and round and round in circles. You keep on the mid shot, Barry, please. Thank you.
Who's directing?
Me. Because you don't know what I'm doing. Right, I want to go, don't go round and round like that. You want to create, you know when you see stained glass, like really traditional blown stained glass, it's got that streaks of colour going through it. So all you want to do is go from one side to the other as quickly and as roughly as possible, because if you try to smooth it all out, then you're defeating the object. You're trying to get all those fantastic stained glass, you know, the colours blending. You've got thick glass, thinner glass, you've got the different colours and the tones coming through. So just go from side to side and watch how quick this is. Just make sure you cover every area, just a bit there, and try not to pick your finger up halfway through a sweep, like that. Now that's it, finished. That's finished, but when that's dry, let me just show you some different pieces. I'll put that to one side. Now the worst thing is when you're working like this, you end up putting stuff down in stuff and that, so I'm going to put that up there for now. And let me just get these sheets here that I did earlier. In fact, I did these about 2 years ago, believe it or not. No, it can't have been. Well, about a year ago. So just show you the technique. That's what it'll look like when it's dry. Can you see that wonderful iridescent look? Fabulous. But if you look at it from the other side as well, you still get that lovely iridescent. Now you could use that on your papers. You can use that on anything. These, even though they're glass paints, you can. I'm sure you'll think of lots of other ways of using these, and they're economical. These are, and they're top quality. We use a pigment, a really good pigment. It's not a dye, it's a pigment. So there's, in fact, the manufacturers that make this for us said these are virtually fade resistant. We don't have to make that claim because I know sooner or later they probably will, but literally they are probably the best, in my opinion, the water-based paints, because the colour fastness is just fantastic. We've still got doors and that, and you've probably seen them in shows that I did 25 years ago with our glass paints. They were mainly solvent-based. We only did the water-based about 10 years ago, but I've still got loads of things made with those, and they look exactly the same. And they're in the window, they're our windows, and they just look fantastic. So that's the iridescent there you can see with the water-based paint, which you can water down as well. But these are a few sheets of the foils that I've got here that I've done in different colours, and you can see those are just ready now just to cut out and stick on your card. You can see on the back there all the different colours there. That one's a red one, there's a gold one, there's a silver one. That's probably just using the same colours there. And then turn it over and you've got that lovely kind of Lalique look, which gives you a card like that. Look fantastic. And it really looks like that really old-fashioned glass that you used to get. We used to get all those different layers. There's another one here in a second. I'll show you that one. There's another one there. That one's got the red on. Let me move that out of the way. You can see the red on the back. And then all you do is cut that out, put that on a card or on a scrapbook or whatever you want, and you've got that lovely old-fashioned glass look. There's another one here too, which has been cut up. I've got lots of things of works in progress, don't worry. That one's got the blue and the green on that one. See the blue, iridescent? And the green there as well. So those are fantastic to use. Now I've also got some here that I did with the water-based paint. Exactly the same technique, just streaking it across. Can you see those? I'll move that one out of the way. Where's that one? That one out of the way. Those are just streaked on the back like that, like a right mess, don't they? But when you turn them around and cut them out, if you can get a close-up on those, Barry, look at that. Can you see this one in particular here, this one here? Can you see how you've got that stained glass effect going through? That lovely old-fashioned stained glass effect. And then you've got a large one here. And you've got all the glass there blending together. That's another one there where I actually watered it down slightly. And you can see how that's been cut out now, and you've got that stained glass effect coming through. And there's some more there as well that I've done. But you can colour paint these in all individually, so you've got proper stained glass effects if you want. So that's those. So when you've actually cut them out and stuck them onto a card, you get effects like that. You see you've got that lovely stained glass effect going through. If I can just tilt that so you can see it. Can you get a close-up of that, Barry? There you go. Can you see that effect there? Fantastic. So there's hundreds and hundreds of different techniques you can do with these paints. There's no one, that's just using the clear and just a little bit of pink, and I've got that lovely old-fashioned pink perfume bottle. And this one is actually using the clear. And you can't probably see it very well, but if you can look on the inside here, it's very kind of bubbly, and that's given that kind of old-fashioned clear bubbly glass. That's that. What else can I show you? I'll show you what I'm going to do. Now you see this one here that I've been painting. You can probably see, let me get these out of the way first. I'm trying to keep tidy at the same time. So let's see if that's in the right position. Is that in the right position?
No.
No. But I don't know if you can see, it's actually drying from the outside here. All around here is all dry, and in the middle it's just a little bit wet. So this is drying quite well, and you can see at the edge as well, this is all drying here, and you've just got a little blob of wet paint in the middle. So you can see this is drying fairly quickly. Now, do you know that, can I come back now, Barry? If you want to create a bubble effect, an old-fashioned bubble effect window, you see all that kind of, like a shower screen or something like that, and you can't quite see through it. If you choose your clear water-based paint, this is where blending your techniques works really well. So that's a clear one. Let's show you that. That's just totally clear. Now this is great to use with your water-based paints because you can take any of the dark colours and make them much more pale, obviously. And you can also use it straight out of the bottle to create a wonderful effect. So let's take this off, take the cap off, and you see all of these have got little nozzles on the end. And then all you do, I should let this dry first, but I want you to see this section. All you do is just doodle a little bit out like that and just doodle it all over. I'm just going to do it on the inside there. I'm not going to go out into the outside there. Just go around the design and just doodle it on. And the more rough you make this, the better it looks. Just doodle this all on. And I'll show you this on the show tomorrow when it's all finished, and we'll finish it off into a card. But then we'll also save it for the next class we do on glass painting. But we'll be a bit more specific next time. Specific. Just a little bit of clear in there.
Whenever you're ready, I've got more questions from the forum.
Can you put your mic on, because I can't hear you?
Yeah, my mic's on.
I can't hear you, Nobby.
Can you hear me better?
No, you've gone off completely.
Have you pulled your plug out?
I might have done. I might have just switched you off completely. No,
Can you hear me now?
I'm not doing anything to it.
Has your earpiece dropped out?
Technical problem. No, you're on fine here, but I think maybe it's gone in my ear because my ear sounds a bit.
Can you
I
hear
think
me?
the battery in my ear's gone. We're not having a good day today, are we?
Oh,
Let me
dear.
try my other earpiece.
Okay. Well, while
I've
you're
got
doing
another one.
I'll talk to the forum, shall I?
But your gob's big enough, so just talk to me through the window.
No, wait till you've got yourself sorted out.
No, this one ain't going to work either.
Use
Talk.
mine.
Oh, I can hear you now.
You can hear me now.
I can hear you.
Right, okay, so I've got some questions from the forum.
Yeah, go on, off you go.
All right then, so...
Can you watch me doing this? Because I want to finish
yeah,
it.
sure. Yeah.
Right. Close up. There you go.
Right,
Go on,
so-
ask away.
I can talk then, can I? Right, and number one, sorry it's me again, but I'm really interested to know what selection of colours would you advise for a beginner? Well, the very basic range of colours would be yellow, blue and red, because from those colours you can make most of the others. That's a good place
And a
to
clear.
start.
I'd
And a
go
clear.
For, if you want to go for anything, go for that blue, red and clear.
And yellow.
I would say a turquoise blue, not the royal blue. So it's turquoise, what was it? Blue, red and yellow.
Exactly, the
So
primary
you can
colours.
make your green, etc. Now, can you see what I've done on that? Now, I'm going to slip a piece of black paper underneath so you can see it better. There you go. Can you see how that's all nice and milky, creamy looking? You can see how rough that's put on. But when that dries, it'll give that appearance of like a, not a frosted window, but you know, like a mottled effect. A bit like Barry's face, a mottled
Thank you.
effect there. And then that'll just dry all nice and mottly. So I'm just going to put that to one side again. Right, any more questions?
Yeah. Deb's good question was thinking that myself. And then Janet, also if you like stamping and embossing, you can stamp an image, emboss it, black looks good, then
You
paint
can.
then paint from the
But
back.
you need to use something preferably like a stays-on, which doesn't, you know, if you use it doesn't move around. Use your stamping onto your acetates. Fantastic. Looks
Yes.
really good.
Message from Vanida, wow, this is fantastic. Very therapeutic just watching, maybe investing in this technique. And then Nona39, have been admiring the backdrop since you started. It is lovely. And then a couple more. Debs, really like the iridescent ones. Hope hubby goes out soon so I can put an order in. Minerva, think this is great. I'm really looking forward to having a go myself. And Evie Wev, I love glass painting. Here's a cat I did. Well, unfortunately, I can't show you that, but have a look on the forum
If anybody
afterwards.
goes on the forum, they can look at that as well. Now, any particular techniques anybody wants to see at this stage? We'll do proper classes later on, so it's just concentrating on, you can learn this, and this, etc., etc. But I just wanted to do, as you said, just get it over and done with. Do the first one, get over the technical problems, see if it works with him or not. I've got to train him as well, you know
Thank
that,
you.
don't you, Chuck? You didn't shut your face. Has anybody got any questions, anything about the different paints and how they work, etc.? I'm sure there are, so I'll give you time to get those through to us. But shall I start? I'll tell you what, I'm going to use a solvent-based paint. I'm going to use it on this this one here with the flowers on. So I'm going to get my solvent-based paints. Now those are my pearl paints. I'll probably go into the pearl paints at another time. I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to show you how to make an outlining bag, because it is, if you learn how to do this, it'll really help your crafting. In whatever craft you do, because you can put glues in it, you can put paints into it. You don't have to buy your fine tip applicators anymore. You don't have to clean out your nibs. You can do this time and time again. If you've got excess left in your bag, you can squeeze it back into your bottle, or once the bag's finished, screw it up and throw it away. I don't use bottles at all, because I just find this so much easier using these bags. Now, the frustrating thing about these bags is it is so easy to do, but it's one of those things that you kind of struggle with to do straight away. Just persevere with it, and once it's clicked up here and you can do it, you've got so many uses with this bag. It's fantastic. So let me show you one of these outlining bags first, how to do it. What you need to do is get a greaseproof paper. I'm going to put this black piece of paper underneath. There you go. I've got a black piece of paper there, and this is just ordinary greaseproof paper. Now, some makes are better to use than others, and I've not really discovered. I actually buy my greaseproof paper from a bakery supplier, so I get a big sheets like this, and then fold it up and cut them into triangles. It's nothing. I have tried it once or twice with the greaseproof paper rolls you get in supermarkets. One was very good. One was, it just went soggy too quickly. But as your bags do go soggy, it doesn't matter, you just change the bag, because what are you laughing at? Leave it, leave it. As your bags go a bit soggy, that'll be Lottie again. Anyway, all right, leave it. Right, here's your bag. Let's show you how to make one of these. Right, you've got a triangle. Now, it's also a difference between if you're left-handed or right-handed. Picture's gone. What have you done? It's back again. Can I have my big angle, please?
Camera 5's gone wonky.
Camera 5 has gone wonky.
So can we just let Stuart sort camera 5 out?
So I'll just talk to number 3 for a minute. You've got to imagine this is your triangle. You can see it's quite an elongated triangle. It's basically a square that's just been folded down the middle there and just cut. So that is your triangle. Now, what you've got to imagine, and you don't have to do this, but when I'm teaching it, it's usually quite easy to do. You've got to imagine that folded in half. So
camera 5's there now.
Camera 5, right. Can I have camera 5 again then, please? Can you see? Oh, it's gone off again.
Oh, it's gone again.
Oh, it's gone again. We're having a fun day today, aren't we, Chucks? Right, fold it in half like that so you get a crease, but you don't have to do that. I just want to show you where the middle is, so that's what you're aiming for. Now, if you can imagine that this here is going to lay down the spine there, and this edge here is going to lay down the spine. So whichever way you want to do it, left-handed or right-handed, I can only do it left-handed. You take one of the edges. If you're right-handed, you would take this edge first. If you're left-handed, take this edge. And basically, you're just folding this over, and as you're folding it over, you're twisting like that. Oh, it's back on again now. That'll start again. There is your handle. Keep the point towards you like that. Take one edge and fold it over. And as you're folding it over, you're kind of twisting. So you're laying that edge all the way down the outside there of that line. So it's a bit like a princess's hat you see in all the cartoons and that. So can you see that, like something you would put sugar in? If you're a confectioner, that's what you would do. Oh, my hand's in the way now. There you go. Can you see in there? You've got the line going straight down there. And you can see to the end. Now, what you want to do, you don't really want to see right through there. You want to get it exactly so that there's no point no hole at the end. So that's one move. That's all you're doing. Just one move, wrapping that round. Next, you're taking the opposite side here, and then you're just wrapping that around the back like that, and that's the second move. How simple is that to do? So you've got that effect. That's your cone. But as you can see at the end here, you've got quite a big hole. Oh, it's back on now. You can see there's quite a big hole there. Oh, hang on, he's having fun with this camera. There you go. Can you see the hole there? You've got a hole. Now, you don't want that. You want to be able to pour water into this and it won't run out. So the way to get away from doing this is basically on the inside. It's difficult to show you this. So much easier in a class. Can you see inside there? You're pushing the inside down at the same time as the back side here. You're pulling up. So the only way I can do it is literally doing it. So I've got both my thumbs inside there. Can I have the big one, Barry? Bigger shot, thank you. Oh, it's gone off. Oh, what's the matter with that? blooming camera. Right, my big thumbs are on the inside there. My other fingers are holding the back. And just by jiggling, I say jiggly poker in here, you're pushing the inside forward at the same time with your fingers at the back, just bring it. It sounds more complicated than it is. All you're doing is jiggling it around until you get a nice point at the end like that. And you can feel when it's nice and tight. And if we can just get a close-up on this end here, you can see how nice and tight that is. Now, theoretically, if I put water in that, it wouldn't come out. So it's a nice, tight cone. Now, holding it like that, can I have the mid-shot, Barry? Holding it without moving your thumb or this back finger, you want to take the back here, the back flaps there, and just fold them over without it moving and crease it. Just move slightly, because I'm trying to do everything at once. That's one fold. Now fold it over again, just a little bit. You've got a double fold, and that second fold holds it in place, so you end up with an icing bag or an outlining bag like that, and you can fill that with whatever you want. If you want to do your glitter and gluing, now you can see there's a little hole at the end there, that shouldn't be there. See the little hole? That shouldn't be there. You should be able to take a pair of scissors and snip that little hole up. But because I'm doing it back to front, it's not as good as it should be. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do one and just show you how quick and easy it is to do without faffing around. Right. Are you watching? This is how easy... No, watching me, Barry. Where are you? I'm going to have to get a better cameraman. Right. Just hold this towards you, and this is how quickly I do them. Take one end, go around like that, and you hold it in position. You take the other end, you go around like that, round the back, hold them in position, you push forward, you pull back, you've got a really tight at the end there. You fold it over once, you fold it over twice, and that's still taking longer than I normally do. And there you've got the perfect outlining bag. It is really simple to do. It's just a question of cutting some triangles out, have a go yourself, and that is fantastic. That means you can buy the bigger outlining buckles that are going to are so much cheaper, and they last you a long, long, long time. But you can also decide from these how thick the hole is at the end, whether you want to do incredible tight filigree type work, or you can cut as much as 1/4 of an inch if you want and do some nice thick lines. So you've got full control with these outlining bags. So I would stress that you really do learn how to do this, because it'll come in handy with so much of your crafting, whether you're doing your glue and your glittering and that. It's going to save you so much time on doing your nibs, cleaning your nibs out, buying expensive products that have got nibs and all that kind of thing. So this is much better. So just to prove a point, I'm now going to fill it with my outliner. Let's move that out of the way. And, oh, I've got paint all over my board. I'm going to have to get some special boards for it. So what you want to do now is don't overfill it. So I'm just squeezing my black outliner into the bag. And it doesn't matter if you only use a little bit, you still need an amount so you can actually work properly. So no, definitely no more than half full. You just squeeze it into there. When you replace when you've got your outlining buckle, make sure you always replace the top. You don't want that kind of clogging up. So just put your lip back on. And now this is important as well. When you're sealing it, Barry, this is important as well, so you can see what I'm doing. You just press the ends down like that. Now, because I've not sealed this one properly, I've got a little hole there. You press down the ends like that. I'm going to put the black paper underneath, wherever that's gone. Right, black paper underneath. There you go. Flatten it down and then fold over one edge and fold over the next edge, so you get like a chisel tip at the end. You've got the two ones there. Then you turn it round and fold over once, fold over twice, and fold over 3 times. Take as many times as you need, but it's usually 3. And then what you've got pressure in here. This is quite strong, and as you squeeze it out, you actually just keep rolling it down. It's like a toothpaste tube. You just keep rolling it down. You need to, don't try and squeeze from here. You're squeezing from the back all the time, and I've got a blob coming out there, so I'm just going to wipe that off because my hole's not small enough. If you get to that point, I always like to practice what I preach. So, oh, that light's gone off. That's gone off again. I'm not happy with that, so I'm going to make another one quickly, and it's only a bit of greaseproof paper, because you see when I'm faffing around I don't do the job properly. So let me do one to my standards. That's perfect there now. Fold it over. I don't have to worry about showing you, so I can do it better. As I say, I could pour water into that. So now I'm just going to cut the end off this. A bit of kitchen towel. Cut the end off. I'm not happy with that edge. Keep losing that picture. And now I'm squeezing the outliner back into this new one. So anytime you're unhappy with the bag that you've got, just change it. It's not the end of the world. What is wrong with that camera?
We're not sure.
You're not sure? Okay, well I'll just carry on regardless. So again, I'm going to fold this down, fold it over, and just roll it down like that. Now I'm squeezing on that. Can you see that? And can I have a really close up? Let me put the black underneath so you can see. Oh, I've put that in top of me glass painting, typical. You can see that I'm squeezing that and hardly anything's, well, nothing's coming out. Ooh, just a little dribble there like that. So now I can cut this to whatever size I want and I can get really, really small outlining. So let's take this smaller design here. Let me find a little bit of acetate. I don't know, I'm coming or going here. Got set up tomorrow's show yet as well. That's delayed me. That hour lost has been a pain in the backside, I can tell you. I had meeting. Oh, I nearly put that into me. I need more room here. So I'm going to pop that over there. I'm going to make this half the size. And pop that onto there. And now I'm going to outline that design now. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to do that one. See, it's all well thought through this. I'm sorry about this camera. It's really playing up. But we've got to get it right for tomorrow. So now all I've got to do, and I'm going to outline at the speed I go, and it doesn't take you long to get to this speed, honestly. Here's my bit of towel here. Here's my bag, and all I'm going to do is take my scissors and just snip a little bit off the end. And this could be glue in here or anything, and then just take your cloth and just test it. Make sure it's the thickness you want before you start. That's perfect. And then you can do your outlining. And I'm just going to show you how quickly it is to outline once you get the knack of it. So you just follow the designs like that. But you can see how intricate it is. But because it's quite small, it's quite easy to do. Any more questions, Barry, while I do this bit?
Yes. Question from Max. How do you clean your brushes when using pearlescent paint? Well, same way that you do with the water base. You just squeeze it between a piece of kitchen towel until there's no trace of the paint left. And when you come to use it again, if it's a bit stiff, just give it a flick and it'll soften up. Stop it. And number one, I'm here again, sorry. Can you go over again about the solvent to water base? Can you use water to thin down both kinds? What about the iridescent? Can that be watered down? Well, yeah. The iridescent can be watered down because it's a water base, but the solvent based ones would need to be watered down with our thinners, Anne. But
yeah, they generally they come to you in the right thickness to flow. They're not thick. I'll go into more detail with the next show on that one, the solvent based ones, because it may get a bit confusing. If it's a water based paint, you use water to water it down. If it's a solvent based paint, you need a thinner. But it has to be a thinner that matches the recipe. You can't just go into a shop and order a thinner. That's why we sell the thinner on the website, because it's the same recipe as the paint, so it thins it down perfectly. If you use a thinner that's not quite right for, doesn't matter what paint you've got, if you use the wrong type of thinner, it'll just make all your paints go gloopy. Technical term, gloopy. And you can see how easy this is now to just outline using the outlining bag. And I'm using very little pressure. I'm just whittling this around. So easy, so simple to do. And you can create some wonderful effects. So the difference between the solvent-based paint and the water-based paint is just basically one's solvent, one's water-based. Water-based paint, you can do all sorts of things just by adding water. Solvent, you need to add what's they called? Thinners. Now, never add water to solvent-based paints because it'll just all clog up and look terrible. You see, just using that outlining bag, how simple that was to do. Just move that from underneath there and you can see it. There you go, have a quick look.
Can you put
it would be better if I got it into shot. Now all I've got to do is put that to one side. I say, if I'm doing anything like this, I personally leave it till the next day before I paint it, but it could be ready in an hour or so. When we're teaching and we have a class, we always kind of have like a little warm cabinet or a radiator and put them on there. After half an hour, they're usually okay. But the thicker the line, as I said, the more difficult it is. Not difficult, the longer it takes to dry. So I've still got some outliner left in that, and all you do is just take the lid off your bottle. Oh God, I need somebody butching here to do this. Oh God, that's untight. Oh, I'll do that in a bit. Can't be bothered watching that. Look at that. Workers' hands. Look, I'm always covered in muck. Crafters' hands, I'll say. So there's your design there. Why are we on that shot? I'm not doing anything.
We were just trying to test it.
You see what's happening? There's two of them in there. They're busy talking to each other because they test the problems and not actually paying attention to what I'm saying and what I'm doing. So that goes into there. Now, what else can I show you? Right, I can show you that because that's drying already. Let's put that to one side before I do anything with that. I can show you this now. Can you see that? You see the one I did earlier on where I used the clear paint on there? You can see how that's gone clear already. If I pop that underneath, you'll probably see better. But can you see how that's going clear, giving that wonderful kind of mottled effect? And I can probably turn this over now so you can start seeing what it's looking like. And if I turn that away, you can see how the paint is drying now, giving you that lovely kind of shading there. You can see how we've added a bit of water so it's much paler down at the tips. And then we've got some of the blue coming through there. We've also got, we can see where it's still wet. You've got all this milky look, but that'll just dry off in time. And then you can go back to the main picture, thank you. But you've got that lovely kind of textured look there. And the rougher you do that, the better that's going to look as well. So that'd look fantastic in a aperture of a card. Or you could put some little foam pads underneath where the blue is, incorporate them into design if you've got some square ones there, and put it on a white card or with a silver underneath so it reflects all the colour back up. Lots of different things you'll come up with, ideas that you'll do with that. So let that dry there. I'm just going to continue letting that dry. And what I might do is paint these colours in between if I want to. I can do whatever I want with it. Now, what else have I done? What else was I going to show you? Oh, I don't know. Tell you what I'll do. I'll show you a couple of things. Now, you have a guess at home. A little game here. A little game. I've got this here. This vase I did. Look at that. Fabulous. Now, this is in one of our books. But if you can... is that the widest one?
It is.
Okay, sorry, it's a big vase. Sorry, Chucks. But can you see that? That was all done with water-based paints. Different techniques. We used the gold outliner. You can see the iridescent paints here on the lily. Let me just move these out of the way so you can see iridescent paints there on the lily. And these are just all all the main part of the, you see all this blue? That's all just applied with a sponge. Now this is in one of our books, but this is using about 3 or 4 different techniques. We've got the sponging technique on this. We've also got using the self-adhesive film, where we actually paint everything on. All the flower heads and the leaves and that were all painted on the self-adhesive film, let them dry, and then cut them out and stick them on the glass. Then when we took the backing sheet, we put that over the top with just a bit of blue tack on there, and then we sponged the paints all over. And then round the top of the vase here, that's just using the gold outliner, but instead of using it as an outliner, just sponging it on, so you get that lovely kind of metallic look. Now you can see these leaves, that's a good example of just doing finger painting, but you've got that lovely old-fashioned glass look going through the finger painting there. And if I can just pick this up without getting it all over the place, there you go. That is the, you're not seeing the green bits because of the behind. But if I hold this white paper there, perhaps you'll see, you're not seeing the green because it's blended in with the background. And it's too big to show you. So that's a very easy vase, but it looks like something antique. And this one looks fantastic. You've got a big white candle inside it, and it all lights up. It looks fantastic. I always had a fascination with stained glass, and I could never afford stained glass. And it was, on the other way, I thought, I really admire people who are traditional stained glass, and it can be a bit snobby. They say, oh, no, we don't do glass painting, that's for hobbyists and what have you. Oh, it doesn't matter, does it? If you enjoy doing it. But I didn't like cutting all the glass up and spending 3 months trying to make one window. I wanted to make things more intricate, which you can't do by cutting the traditional out. Well, you can if you paint on there, but you've got to fire it and all that kind of thing. I've got another example here. from the book. And let's see if this one's not going to show up very well either. I've picked the right ones here. Now, let me take this one out. This is the Greek urn, but this looks like, doesn't that look fantastic? I've actually chipped some paint off that one. I can repair that. Don't worry. Now, this looks like it's actually verdigris. Now, there's a section in one of our books where we teach you how to do verdigris. This is just the same water-based paint that I've just shown you. Again, you've got a few different techniques on here. And all we've done is using those colours, blending the colours, stippling it on with a very fine sponge and just blending the colours as you go. And then you can see when you get that verdigris look, when you get like kind of where on the copper it kind of dribbles, you know, when water's dribbled down, you get those lines. All I've done is watered it down. And from the top, just dribbled it down the outside of the vase. Can you see a close-up? Thank you, Barry. And what we've also used on that is some self-adhesive lead. And also, have you seen our self-adhesive metal? So we've got some grapes and some leaves on there. They're stuck on afterwards. So we created that wonderful Greek effect there. And again, that looks fantastic. And you've got a candle inside there. You burn your fingers trying to light it. But it does look really good. It really does look like verdigris, doesn't it? Just turn that around and you can see that. Now, just give you another idea. I've got another couple of things around here. You can see that one. Now, that one was using our pearlized paints. And this was done onto the self-adhesive cling film. It's not a cling film, it's a self-adhesive one. I think we're out of it at the moment, but it should be coming back in the shop soon.
Just reordered it.
Just reordered it, apparently. But if you have a look close up on this, all these leaves were done with our pearlized paint, and you get that wonderful mottling. Can you see that wonderful mottling effect you get on these? They're fabulous. I love our pearlescent effects. Done in the gold outline, and this was done two different ways. First of all, we would outline the leaf in gold, add the paint after that, do the paint, and then afterwards do all the veining on the top of the paint. Again, it's a different technique. And if I turn it round, you can see, look at this one, I love this red one here. That red one, can we see that close up? There. Look how those paints all mockle and give that wonderful pearlescent effect. So that's another vase that we do, it's called Autumn Leaves, as you can probably tell by that. I love that, that's great. Now there's one other thing I want to show you, I'm quite proud of this as well. This is an ordinary water bottle, and this is just using silver outliner. We've got loads of samples here. I must get them out and show them you properly. But this one we actually done onto release paper. You know, this morning's show we did release paper. Well, you put your design under the release paper, outline over the top, let it dry overnight, peel it off, and then just wrap it around the bottle. So you're not doing this straight onto the bottle. Have a close-up of this. This was just done. You can see the join there at the back. I just measured the bottle, designed it, and then just did the outlining all the way around, watered the outliner down, or you could use the silver paint if you want for the thicker areas, and you get that wonderful blue and silver bottle. And did the same to the cap there as well. Can you just have a close-up on that, Barry, please? There you go. Can you see that? That's one of my favourite pieces, and there's not even any glass painting on it. All I've used is a piece of release paper and some silver outlining. And the daddy of them all, one of my major favourites, is this one. Whoa! I love that. That's all my fish going round. Now, we did used to, those who've seen it, we used to have a bathroom up in Manchester where there was like 300 fish swimming all around it. And they ended up, the whole design came through the window, across the ceiling, went around the bathroom tiles, and it finished up on a pedestal where the fish swam up the vase, and this vase was full of twigs with white lights on it. Looked very, very nice, but it looks a bit grubby now. But that one again is done with our pearlized paints, and you can see how fantastic you can get. Let's whip these around. You can see the pearlized paints. Again, you think, oh, I can't do that on that vase. It's so difficult to do. You do them all individually, then just cut round them with a pair of scissors, peel the backing off, stick it on the glass, and you can see right through the glass there. You can see, you can't see the film or anything, and say, oh, how did you do that? But it's rounded. How the paint would have run. You don't. You do it flat. So there's always an easy way around, Chuck. So that's one of my favourite pieces. I must take that home and get it all lit up again. But I think that's about. I've got I could go on for hours and hours and hours and hours, and as you know I did. So I've done some of the basics there on the outlining. I showed you the peel-offs, I showed you the water-based paints. We'll have a go perhaps another time. We'll try and get a proper structure going forward, but we've got so much to fit in. The solvent-based paints, they're much runnier. Let me try and paint something very quickly. I was going to do that, wasn't I? Let's do a solvent-based paint one first. Let's do... It's not going to dry in time, but let me get some paints. Have you got anything to say, Barry, while I sort myself out?
Not too much at the moment. I've got some more comments from the forum.
Well, go on, off you go.
Okay, well, we'll just watch you while you're doing that then.
Yeah.
Right, let's just go back again. Very informative and well explained. I've missed you guys, Crafty Angel. Debs, got the iridescent set, the water-based set of the black outliner in the basket. Anything else I need before I hit the buy button?
What's you like, that one?
So glad to hear you have a tight end, Alan. Maybe too much information, though. Okay.
It's warm in the studio, I can tell you.
Janet, if
Don't read out the rude ones.
Well, I didn't realise it wasn't until I started reading it. If you make a piping bag, don't forget to have the seam on the bottom when you fold it in, otherwise when you squeeze it you could get a leaky bag. But if the seam is on the bottom, it tightens them mostly.
We don't want a tight bottom, well perhaps you do, I don't know. Paint everywhere.
Right, there's some more questions on there if you've got time for them.
Yeah, go on, off you go.
Let's have a look then. Debs, just added and amended. Oh, right, okay. Well done, Debs. You've been chopping. I'm hoping to have a go at making the noughts and crosses board from your book for my brother-in-law's 60th birthday. Couldn't think what else to get him, so thanks for the idea. Max, the vase is lovely. Nona, love the autumn leaves. Dawn, first time I've seen the blue bottle. I didn't know you'd not seen that before, Dawn, because that's our Dawn. Debs, love the fish vase, really lovely. Dawn, the picture has started to break up. Oh, well, never mind.
Dawn, do you mean you've never looked at one of our books? Naughty Dawn. Right, let's show you this one. Let's do a little bit of solvent, then I feel like I've given you a lot then. Right, I'm going to paint this. I'm going to paint the flowers on this. Can you see this one now? It's the close-up working. I'm using exactly the same brush. Doesn't matter. Got my same brush here. Now, if you use the pearlescent ones, you would give them a good shape first. Scrape the bottom with a flat-tipped screwdriver and whip up all the pearlescent effect and paint with that. But we're not going to do that today. But I just want to explain about the solvent-based paints. What I'm going to do now is paint these flowers and just show you how I would do this. So I've got my turquoise there. I've got my purple one there. Turquoise, purple and clear. Those are the ones I'm going to use. If I can get them into the picture. There you go. But I just want to explain before I start doing that. We've also got a white one there. So if you want to do something like a bedroom window or a bathroom window or something like that, if you just blend in some of the white, it turns all the transparent into opaque paints. So you can't see through them, obviously. And that is the white one. So let's just paint some of these flowers. I'll just do a little bit on this so you can see how I would do it. So I'm taking my lid off. I only take one lid at a time. And then as you're painting, put your lid always back on because it is a solvent-based paint. It is evaporating all the time. Just pop your lids on in between. So I've got these two flowers here. This is how I would paint this. I'm going to do this fairly quickly. Give you an idea. We'll do a proper dem later on. Oh, come on off. There you go. I'm sticking my lids off, getting them ready so you're not hanging around. I wouldn't normally leave the lids off them all, but I want to do this for speed for you. Right, how would I paint this one? I've got two flowers on here. Right, off we jolly well go. So there's the flowers. I'm first of all going to, there's my paint, and all you do is just dip it in, and you're just loading it up with paint. You can see it dripping off there, and you just load it up, and it drips where you want it to drip. And all you do, you're not painting, you're easing, you're accommodating it. You're just easing where you want it to go. And I'm just blending in the purple here like this. Just going. See, there's no outliner on this, but because it has a really good surface tension, you can take it right up to the edge and it's not going to flow any farther. If you put too much paint on, of course it is going to do that. So just paint up to the edge. Now, if you've got a white one underneath, let me just move that out of the way. I didn't know you couldn't see that. If you've got white underneath, it really helps you to paint this because you can see exactly where you're going. Don't put a yellow or a red underneath. Who are you talking to, Barry? Are you on or off? Barry? paying attention?
I just turned you off as well.
Oh, you turned me off too. Very clever. You're not doing it again. And now I'm just taking some of the turquoise and just blending some of the turquoise into the purple. Just a little tip on there. You can see that. I'm just blending that in. Now, bubbles. I did say about bubbles. How do you get them out here? People say. Now, one thing that causes bubbles is whipping up your paint too much. Also, if there's a bit of a draft in the room, it can cause bubbles. If you try to dry it quickly with a hairdryer, that'll create bubbles. But if you see any bubbles in here, this is the time to get them out. All you do is dip your brush in, pick it up, and wipe it onto a bit of tissue. Find a bubble, just pick it out with the tip of your brush, wipe it on the tissue. And now I've put the blue and the purple there together, and now I'm just wiping my brush. You see how I do it? Just show you again how I do it. Just pop it into there like that, squeeze the paper round, just twist my brush, and that's it, clean. If for some reason, quite often this is a little bit stiff when you come to use it again, all you've got to do is flick it and it goes nice and soft again. If it were but life. And there you go, you've got the clear. Now I'm just dropping a little bit of clear into the middle there like that. And then you can see it blending into the others, and then just flick it through. Don't put too much in. And then as that dries, it'll be nice and shaded. It'll have a lovely thick. I'm just going to flick in a little bit of blue there to cover that centre. But what I might do is put a little bit of yellow in the middle there. So I'm just going to find my yellow and pop that into the centre of the flower there, like so. Ta-da! And I'll just leave that to dry. It'll probably take about 10 minutes before I could turn it over and show you. And then I can do the next one. I'm going to do the purple. And you just leave these to dry, and you wouldn't attempt to paint anything next to it because they'll just run into each other. But once it's got a surface tension as dried, it's got like a crust over the top, well then you can paint the one next to it. But always be careful. Take your time with glass painting. Try not to rush it too much because you'll just get the colours all blended into each other and you'll be disappointed with the end result. So I'm just adding my little bit of purple, try and get into position properly. Just blend that in there like that. How long have I been going?
You've actually been going now for 1 hour and 26 minutes.
Oh, blooming heck, well I better finish soon. Well, I'm going to finish this one. God, me and my gob. But you see, you get carried away, don't you? We'll have a more constructed class next time, and we'll just concentrate on certain things. And I may have a step-by-steps. But what you can do, we'll try and do some classes so that you can actually pre-prepare and do it along at the same time. So we'll tell you exactly what you're going to need to use. Drop my clear in there and just flick it through. There's a big bubbly thing there. Get that out. Come on for Daddy. Out you come. I think it's a little bit of dried paint off the paint bottle. And again, I'm just going to put a final blob of yellow in the centre and just flick that through. So I'm just going to leave that to dry now. So I think that's as far as I'm going to go with it on this class, how they will work in the future, obviously.